Just a quick video about these Hubsans. This is the H502C. It's similar to the H502E and the S. Pretty much similar to the 501 series as well. They all have the same GPS sort of setup in them. This has got a little compass in the top as well. It's got the GPS in there. Just going to give you a few little tips, things I've found flying this little bird. How I calibrate the compass, which is slightly different than in the manual. The manual tells you to turn the transmitter on, turn the quad on, then do the compass calibration 1, which is spinning around this way, then do the compass calibration 2, which is spinning it around nose down. But I find it's better if you wait till you get 6 satellites before I do the compass calibration 1 and 2. And then when I do the compass calibration 1, I don't spin it around like that. I hold it by the back legs, I hold it at arm's length parallel to the ground, and I just do maybe 1 or 2 spins, and that's it calibrated. Same again with compass calibration 2. I hold it nose down, I hold it by the back legs, parallel to the ground, at arm's length again, and I spin round, and that's compass calibration 2 done. And it literally takes 1 or 2 spins and it's done. If you do it this way, it takes ages. I find it takes ages, and it doesn't always give you a good calibration, I don't think. This morning I did it quickly, spinning it around. It didn't really work. I took it up, it was toilet bowling a little bit, so I had to bring it down, shut it off, start again. The toilet bowling on these is where it starts doing this in the sky. A lot of times it's caused by wind, I think. The wind sort of blows it off position, the GPS tries to correct it, the wind blows it again, and it's constantly doing this, and eventually it goes into like a wild spiral, and it can go out of control. I find the best thing to deal with it is to climb out of it, climb altitude, or pitch forward, pitch to the side, just move out of that position. The GPS recalibrates where it is. It just helps a little bit. If it doesn't work, bring it down, shut it off, and just recalibrate the compass again. I found out after bringing this one down this morning and shutting it off, putting it back on again, turn the transmitter off again as well. When I booted it up about 30 seconds, a minute later, it still had 11 satellites, which I had before. So this battery backup in there must be linked to the compass and the GPS, I think. It's all backed up. So when I turned it back on, it was all the information was there again. I still had 11 satellites. So I'm going to turn it on and just show you how not to calibrate it, really. So transmitter on, and turn your cord on as well. This has got a little power button underneath this one. A lot of them you just plug in the battery and it turns on, but this one's got a little button. Hold it in for 3 seconds and the lights start to spin. It's important that you put it on a flat surface when you do this. So I'm going to power it on. You'll see the lights start flashing. I'll spin it over quickly, put it on a flat surface, and then it will initialize and it will bind to your transmitter and it will set up the gyroscope. So hold that in. It starts to flash. Spin it around, put it on a flat surface. Right, all the lights flashing. So that's bound now, and it's initialized the gyroscopes. So what's happening now, it's asking for compass calibration 1 on the transmitter when the lights are going in a rotary pattern like that. And a lot of people do this, and it does take a few spins. I'll just show you. Now you do that until the lights change to that pattern. So they flash on each side. You've got two lights like that. So now on the transmitter it's asking for compass calibration 2. and what you do is hold the quad down, nose down, and spin it round clockwise on its axis, on its vertical axis. So I'll just do that now. So when all the lights are solid, that's your compass calibrated, compass calibration 2. Now in the manual, it tells you to wait for your 6 satellites. I won't get any satellites in here because I'm inside. But what I do, I do it a different way around. I wait for the 6 satellites first before I do my compass calibration. I just find it's quicker to calibrate, much quicker, and I get better results. Basically, I get less flyaways, less toilet bowling and stuff like that. So, but it's up to you how you do it. I'm just trying to give you a few tips, what I've learned since I've been flying this little Hubsan, and I just find it's much easier if I wait for the 6 satellites and then do my compass calibration. So what I'll do now, I'll just show you another little feature this little Hubsan's got when you start the motors. So on this start, it's both sticks down and out. That arms motors. Same again to start, both sticks down and out. But it's got a little safety feature on this, a little motor cutout system, which I think causes a few problems. It's alright in theory. It's meant to protect the motors in a crash. It shuts them off, which is great in theory, but what happens in practice, if it's a bit windy and the quadcopter tips to a certain angle, it can shut off your motors. And these things can fall out of the sky, so just be wary of that. Your quadcopter might not have that feature. I think it was put on the later ones in a firmware update or something. This has definitely got it. I'll demonstrate it now for you. I'll get the motors running and let you see that. So what happens with these little Hubsans? Can you hear the motors? So they're trying to keep it in the air, trying to keep it stable. When you tilt it forward, the front motor's cut in. When it goes to the side, it tries to straighten up when it pitches over. Now what happens when it's flying forwards like this? It's pitching at this sort of angle. If a gust of wind catches it underneath and pushes it past a critical point, it's trying to correct. Look, can you see how it's trying to correct? Gets to a critical point and the motors just shut off like that. That little quick flashing on the rear lights, that's the battery running low. When you see it doing that in the sky, it's time to bring it down. You roughly have about a minute to land the thing. So just bear that in mind though, when you're pitching forward quite far forward like that, steeply, especially in expert mode, it does sort of fly at that sort of angle. Now if a gust of wind gets behind it, it is going to push it past that critical point and the thing's going to fall out of the sky. Watch when you're banking round as well, a gust of wind gets it, it could be flying around this sort of angle and it's going to topple it past that point. Just bear that in mind. They will shut off. It's a safety feature designed to protect the motors basically. It does work. I've not burnt any motors out yet. It's sort of ended up in a tree branch. It's been fine. It's ended up like that, bent a propeller, the motors have been fine. So it is working as it's meant to do, protect the motors. Now your quadcopter might have that feature, it might not have that feature. It's in the firmware, I believe. The later ones have it, early ones don't. That's why a lot of people are having issues with the motors on these, burning out the motors, because when it hits a tree, the motors are still trying to spin, they obviously can't, and they just burn out. So it is to protect the motors. But bear in mind that the thing can fall out of the sky, so just be careful of that. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Please like and subscribe. If you like the content, you want to see more. I've just remembered, I've got I'm expecting a package from Hubsan. I've got a little issue with the camera on this, it's just slightly out of focus and they're helping me sort that out. But in the meantime I've had a package arrive. I've forgotten I've ordered this actually. It's another drone. I'm going to do an unboxing video of this one. We'll do some flight videos of it as well. Quite excited to get that up in the air. So I hope you enjoyed this. Take care. Bye bye for now.